coming right there.
All right, hey guys, welcome to Tactical Rifleman, our Tactical Tuesday live stream. I am here with Steve Holland, the man. Steve, you guys know we got Steve here. We got a great sponsor back again tonight, Venture Surplus. Venture brings the Army Surplus store to your door. All right, so we're using new cameras, other stuff, and my big thing is I need you guys to let me know if you can hear us all right, because I'm wearing a mic, but I don't know if you guys can hear me. So just put it in the chat. Hey, can you guys hear us all right? And we'll make this shit work. I think we're gonna have us a great live stream tonight. All right. Steve's gonna do his usual. He's gonna let everybody know that we're having a live stream tonight. Who you texting now?
Everybody.
Everybody. He's gonna text everybody. All right, guys. So while Steve's doing that, couple things real quick. One, please check out our sponsor, all right, Venture Surplus, because everybody needs Army stuff, right? So. I used to love when I was a kid going to the local Navy surplus store that had a lot of Army stuff out in New England where I grew up. And you go in there, I would get old tank shells and then bring them down to the tank in my, at the monument in the middle of my hometown. And I would load the thing with a pipe bomb and then load that tank shell down the barrel, light the fuse, and ride off on my bike. There's so much good stuff you can do surplus stores. Venture Surplus. Venture Surplus brings the Army Surplus store to your door. You don't got to be a juvenile delinquent. Free shipping, free return, sincere. Check their stuff out. I got a bunch of classes coming up this fall. I've only got one class left with openings this summer, and it is 27, 28 July. No light, low light shooting. We're doing it at the Louisville Armory. And I've got a couple slots left for that class. So if you saw the ad, my son filmed a little ad this morning, put it up. I hope he put it up. Those last couple of slots, I really want to fill them. So I'm putting them up 25% off. The cool part about the class, you know, you're responsible for bringing your own ammo, but it is pistol and rifle. Bring a weapon-mounted light. But I understand a lot of people don't have night vision. So bring your pistol light, bring your rifle light, but I will have brand new PVS 14s there, brand new, and you can, they're yours. You'll be the one to break the seal on the box. Use them for the class. If you bring a helmet, I've got helmet mounts for you, but you don't have to. The PVS 14, it's a full green bag that the Army gets, so it's got the skull crusher head harness, and everything, and goes one eye to the other eye. Good stuff indeed. Steve's going to help me teach that class. But the cool part is these are ghost white phosphor nods, and it's got your manual gain knob, everything. They're good nods, but at the end of the course, you can give them back to me. I'll send them back to AGM Global Vision, who's sponsoring the course. Or if you want them, they're giving me the ability to sell you these nods basically at my cost. You're going to pay shipping and you're going to pay tax because I have to pay shipping and tax. But other than that, I'm not looking to make money off the nods. I want people to train. So anyways, I've got a couple slots left for that class. Some of you guys are actually have already signed up, like Tony. Tony bought nods last year, but he wants to buy another one this year so he can run them on a bridge. I got another doc, he's coming, and he is bringing his own nods. That's cool. You don't have to use mine, but if you don't own nods, I've got nods for you. It's going to be a great, great class. Again, that is 27, 28 July. You can sign up at tacticalrifleman.com. It's some good freaking coffee right there. Damn good coffee.
What kind of coffee is that?
5 Stone.
5 Stone.
Guys, you guys know the deal. You go to 5 Stone, you just Google, put in 5 Stone coffee, and it's a young guy, Eastern Kentucky, roasts his own beans, but he does a lot of missionary work. He's attended a few of my classes and turned up and made coffee in class, and I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. It's, you know, I have guys that bring donuts and stuff. Bottles of booze, but he knew I like coffee. He made pots, and I was like, that's actually out of a percolator. That's actually pretty good coffee. I imagine what whole bean dark roast would be. And he's like, Carl, I got 5 pounds for you right here. And sincerely good, really, really good coffee. 5 Stone Frontline Coffee. If you go there, use code TR10 because he's a fan of ours, just like yours are. And gets you a 10% discount, TR10. I don't make a dime off of it. I don't, not at all, guys, not at all. Yeah, Steve, Steve needs a couple more minutes. That's all right. I'm going to scroll through my notes one more time. Guys, I have got so many notes here. It's awesome. Real quick, one more time while I'm waiting on Steve. One of you guys' name is, you're good. One of you guys out there is named Jake Snyder, and Jake asked me if I would pick him up some sand from Omaha Beach. So I did. He just sent me this container to put it in because I told him I brought it home in Ziploc bags. So this cute little jar shows up. I'm like, that's kind of cool. But also in the bag, Jake had a note here. Anyways, I wish I could find a small one, blah, 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 blah. But he did something else for me. And I don't know if you guys saw, we were posting pictures while we were over there in France at the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Me and my son, a little bonding experience. We went and parachuted out of a World War II airplane. And it was awesome, by the way. But one of the pictures I posted was me and my son that was taken while I've got my Jumpmaster shirt on, but he's already in uniform. Anyways, Jake took that and had it laser engraved on a slate coaster. And I just thought that was awesome, But then he took another one, and there was another picture of Nicholas and his girlfriend, me with my wife, and then my niece and my nephew-in-law, Jamie, basically my family that I brought over there with us. The girls were all wearing World War II dresses. Me and Nick were in our World War II uniforms. He's not happy with how the laser engraving worked on the slate. This is priceless to me. This is so awesome. I'm not even putting my coffee cup on it. I've got another cup holder coaster that I've got my coffee cup on. Anyways, Jake, if you're watching, thank you so much for these. I'm going to give the really nice one, the picture of me and my son. I'm going to give it to my son, but I'm going to keep this other one here on my desk. Totally badass. So, Jake, thank you. And I will get your sand out to you as soon as it finishes drying. I opened up the Ziploc bags and the sand was still wet from Omaha Beach. So anyways, I got to let it dry out. Not only is that good coffee, but it's good coffee with Steve Holland. So what's new with you, Steve? What is new?
Oh, my gosh, Carl, I can talk about so many different things.
How about that last week live stream? That was awesome. You clip on your mic for me.
Last week's live stream. For all you guys that normally don't catch the show because of, it's Tuesday night and you have other...
you got other stuff.
Other things to get
Watch
done.
It the next day. Watch it the
You're
next day.
watching the next day and the next day or the day after that. I have to fully apologize that the YouTube bots shut us down because I put my hands on a Mark 12 SPR upper receiver group.
Not the whole gun.
Not the whole gun.
Because that would be violating YouTube's policy.
YouTube's policy.
But we didn't want to do that.
We don't violate.
We're not violators.
So we specifically stated and showed that this was a complete Mark 12 upper
not the whole gun.
Not the whole gun.
No trigger, no ammo, no stock.
No lower receiver, no nothing. And we got shut down. And Carl forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah, so normally, we're recording. We're recording. Guys, we're recording this one right now. So when YouTube, whether it's one of their fembots or whether it's the actual YouTube moderator who's living in his mom's basement, whoever it is, if they shut us down, we record it, I will still put it up the next day. So if we get shut down tonight, which I'm sure they'll do because I'm scary. My shirt has got a tomahawk and a knife on it, which means my shirt is capable of killing people. Anyways, whatever. But so anyways, we get shut down. I apologize. I forgot to hit the record button last week. Otherwise, I wouldn't have cared. But I wanted my live stream back. So, and all you guys are texting me, Carl, what happened? What happened? You know what happened. The YouTube bot thought they saw Steve holding a gun. They shut us down. So I'm like, look, computers make mistakes. AI makes mistakes. So anyways, I filed a complaint with YouTube and got one of their moderators and said, look, after I got all the profanity out real quick, and he said he did not appreciate being talked to that way. Okay, I quit using profanity, and we had a serious conversation. And I'm like, I understand your bot made a mistake. If you can go back and watch it, you'll see Steve was holding an upper receiver, just the upper receiver group with a scope on it. That's it. Was not a firearm. It's the same as me holding up that optic. He was holding up a piece of a firearm. He was not holding up a whole firearm. And this guy's like, no, well, you violated our firearm. I'm like, no, your bot made a mistake. And the only reason why you have a job is in case computers make a mistake, you have a human being that can then step in. Don't you want to justify your job, why you haven't been replaced by AI? I'm giving you an opportunity to justify your existence. Surely he's going to jump on that now, because he doesn't want to rattle the cage there at Google headquarters. So after about an hour, guys, because I wanted your live stream back. No, I'm not joking, because me and Steve went to about 9:30. So it's about 10:30 p.m. I'm still sitting here. That moderator can't do anything. So I'm like, okay, who do I file a complaint with? Well, that would be my supervisor. Roger that. Put me in contact with your supervisor. Macy, bless her heart, her name was Macy, the supervisor, the Google mod, and I'm sure she's living in her mom's basement. Also, pink hair, pink and purple hair, all that shit.
You make
right?
your friends, Carl. You
Yeah.
make your friends.
Anyways, Macy, bless her heart, she tried to help me. She couldn't do it because I'm like, look, I understand your machines make mistakes. That's why you have human beings. I'm not mad. See, well, you're not going to get a strike against your channel. I could give a shit less about your strike. Okay. I want that live stream back. It was over 2 hours long. I was 2 minutes away. I literally had just said, Steve, you got any parting words of wisdom? And he's like, oh, no, hold on, Carl. I want to bring this gun up. I mean, we were almost done. And, okay, we'll go extra half hour. I don't care. I love Steve, right? We can do this. I want it back. And she said, well, I can't do that. You have to go to my manager. And to do that, we've got to do email. Roger that. We started the email string. That was Tuesday. I was supposed to get contact the next day. But basically, they told me to suck a dick. They told me, they're like, no, we don't care. We don't care. Carl, we don't care. We don't care.
You're one of a trillion.
Yeah. So, they're like, we understand you're not happy with this decision, but we don't care. So I'm like, roger that. Okay. So, eventually one of you guys will get home addresses for all these people. And,
no, they won't.
But till then, because you understand, there's so many people that are just tough and Billy badasses on the internet until you meet them face to face. Like I found one kid that was talking so much smack, and then I saw him at SHOT Show, and I'm like, hey, come here, tough guy, come here. I'm right. You're right. I'm retired, old, fat. He called me fat. Retired has-been. Come here. Come step up to the plate, Woodchuck. He's like 4 inches shorter than me. All right. And I'm sure the only fight he's ever been in is in a chat room. But anyways, he went cowering, and he didn't. I'll give it in his defense. He did not run away at SHOT Show. What do you say? Briskly. He briskly walked away.
The adjutant's walk.
Yeah, the adjutant's walk. For those of you that were in the Army, sound adjutant's call. See, nobody gets that unless you've been in the Army. Unless you've been in the Army, and you've been to a change of command ceremony. Anyways, so guys, don't hate Google.
YouTube.
And don't hate YouTube. Just understand they rule. This is their. We are here as guests on their network. So I have to play by their rules, even though they don't know what their rules are. So
you going at it back and forth with them that Tuesday night after the show, and I finally left, and then you back into it back and forth. And now you're talking to the supervisor and the manager, and you like, reminds me of the movie The Covenant, when the guy playing Jake Kinley, he's trying to get visas, and he's talking to someone at the State Department, and he's like, "I'll find you.
Yep.
I'll find you." I said, "That's Carl. That's Carl right there."
So anyway, someday one of you guys will get me home addresses. And don't think it doesn't work, because, you know, Rawson Herstoff. You guys remember Rawson? He's done some videos for us. Okay. Rawson had his whole Facebook page shut down, and they wouldn't let him back onto it. Not at all. Now, you understand that's not fair. It's also not, it violates their own policy. So he drove to the headquarters. It was only like 500 miles for him. But he, no joke, drove to Facebook headquarters, got into the building, didn't say what he was there for, waited till he'd gotten past all the security and everything. And once he's inside the building, he started asking quietly, and then got louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. And the security was there to escort him out of the building and everything. And he's like, "Nope, you're going to have to call law enforcement before any of you guys put your hands on me. Feel free, call law enforcement, call them. And you know what? They gave in because they're plant eaters, and Rawson got his Facebook page back. So anyways, guys, I really don't want to start a war with Google. The cool part is we haven't been shut down yet. We've been going for over 15 minutes. They haven't shut us down yet.
That being said, I wanted to make up for last week, and I was going to, as I discussed with the guys on the Facebook chat group, the Mark 12 SPR chat group, I have the Mark 12 20-inch, the original 20-inch, on the Fight Light SCR lower receiver, which is a straight rifle lower receiver. And guys, don't get spun out because it's different from the Mark 12 that you're accustomed to. Most of you guys run the Mod 8s. Because the part of the Mark 12 program, when I started it, I was working with Gus Taylor. One of the things we were going to do, we were asking industry, was to create a straight stock. At the time, Aries Defense, Fight Light hadn't quite fully gotten their straight stock, but what we wanted was a lot of the guys that were deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan, and they were snipers. Now they were in the designated marksman role. All our snipers are used to the M24.
You said M24 that had the Remington stock.
Remington stock, straight rifle stock.
Yeah.
Not saying they can't run a pistol grip AR, but their natural affinity is to a straight stock rifle. So Aries Defense, Fight Light, came up with the SCR. So I had an SCR on the 20-inch, original 20-inch Mark 12 6.8 upper that I was going to do tonight. And I was running a little late, so I got in.
I said no.
Carl said, "Steve, we got to adjust the angles of the cameras and everything else." So
we can't do it tonight, guys. I apologize. It's not Steve's fault. Steve showed up with 7 minutes to spare, which is enough time to move the gun rack and everything. But
this is enough time for a jump master to get 4 sticks up and stand in 6 minutes. It was 7 minutes.
Anyway,
guys,
we'll
do it next week.
I got here late. It's not Steve's fault. I got here late. I was out at the campsite setting up my camper and everything. And
so you're saying that I can't hold this up?
How about be careful, dude? If you go like that
Yeah,
with your
yeah,
hand, they're going to
yeah.
shut you down. You know why?
Yeah.
Because that thing might be loaded.
Deadly. Deadly. So I have the SCR straight rifle stock, Mark 12.
We'll
and
do it next
and I
week,
have
guys.
the Mark 12 Mod H, one of the original ones built. And the reason why you can see that it's the original one, and I posted the pictures of the Mark 12 Facebook page, it's in the lever action mode. And now that wasn't part of the Mark 12 program, like the straight stock. But what I wanted to show you guys is in the states where you can't own a pistol grip platform, and for you guys that like lever actions, like Carl and I do,
Yeah.
and sometimes you don't want the Western type lever action because you've got the mag feed tube, loading gate, feed tube. After you go dry, the Fight Light AR lever action allows you to use AR magazines. So I wanted to show that configuration, Mark 12 Mod H, 6.8 magazines, lever action rifle. But sooner or later, once we get to the complete build of everything, we will have...
We'll actually have a camera above, guys, that can look down, and Steve could have it laying right here on the table in front of him. He won't have to show it on the gun rack. We're getting there. So I remember I told you guys I ordered a special camera bracket that would hold 4 cameras. And because we have one right now that's holding 2 cameras. And I was like, yeah, so I'll order the 4 camera one, right, to be a little bit wider, right? So I was excited because I got the email that it came in. I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to have 3 cameras rocking for Steve. Close up on Steve, close up on Carl, wide. It's going to be awesome.
And to be able to show platforms.
No, this thing's like this long. It's made for holding like 4 GoPros. It's literally a bitty thing. And I was like, Amazon, you got me. You got me. Nowhere on Amazon did it list the dimensions. The picture is the same as the bracket that has 2, but it's spread out long. I didn't realize it was like a Cracker Jack version made for holding literally. Anyways, I should have known when it was only $19. You're getting it from China. Guys, we've had some questions come in today. I got through most of the questions last week. The one that came in right at the end, my Uncle James Swain actually threw down $50 super chat last week. The cool part, James, is how they took your money, right? That that live stream's gone. So I don't know if I'm going to get that super chat or not. Google may just say, well, we'll throw that in our slush fund. But I do appreciate James doing it. So, James, I saved your question. I'm purchasing a 30-inch barrel 20 gauge for drone defense. Will that work? Guys, we got a class that's coming up in November that's called Tactical Drone Operator. It's being put on by a retired master sergeant called Byron Russell. He retired from 5th Special Forces Group, my old unit, A15, and went on to teach tactical drones to special ops units. And that's all he did for like 10 years straight. The company he worked for actually makes the GPSs and stuff for NASA. They're literally 100-pound heads. So these give you an idea of the level of drones that these guys were using. They are totally badass. Anyways, that company has since moved on to do something else. Byron's moved on to do something else, but he teaches these classes. So if you're interested in Tactical Drone Operator, that class is in November. Here's the catch. That's a 2-day class. If you want, there's a 4-day class in early December that is called Tactical Drone Defense. Now, the first 2 days of that course is Tactical Drone Operator. You're learning how to be a tactical drone operator, not just a drone operator, but one that has to think tactically, how to hide the drone, how to move the drone, how to use the different optics on it, stuff like that. And the reason why that's the first 2 days of drone defense is the best way to fight against an enemy is to know how to think like that enemy. So a good way to defend yourself against thermals, for example, is to do a lot of work hunting with thermals. You learn the pros and cons of them. It's the same thing with drones. So Byron's class is 4 days long. Like I said, I apologize, I don't know the exact dates. He's doing it in December though. He's got a great classroom. He's got targets set out for the drone. He provides all the drones. You can bring your own drones, but he's got all the, he's got, I want to say, it's like a little over $250,000 worth of drones to be used in that class. That's how serious he takes this stuff. But in that class, you'll learn there are certain ways to attack a drone. There are other ways not to attack a drone. Now, the easiest way for us cavemen, that's us, cavemen, we fight with gunpowder. All right.
Tomahawks.
And tomahawks. There, you can shoot drones with gunpowder. You can. And if that's what you know, and you're not into using focused microwaves and IR jammers and radio wave jammers and things like that, because that's the best way to attack them. You can focus energy waves and you'll get a better, more range is what I'm trying to get at. But again, you and I don't have that kind of a budget. So, but for us cavemen, right? Gunpowder works for us, guys. It does. And the two different ways to do it. One is actually shooting solid projectiles. And that's where think goose hunting, high altitude goose hunting. Canadian geese that are up at altitude. A lot of guys would shoot the old 10 gauges with very, very heavy goose shot. My old grandfather grew up during Prohibition, and they basically had a cannon mounted in the bottom of the boat, the John boat, a homemade cannon, and they would go out, and as the geese were flying overhead, they would kind of lean out from both sides of the boat, and they'd light that thing off, and it would shoot all these broken nails and everything up the air, and then they would paddle around, they'd pick up the 10, 20, 30 geese that they dropped. Okay, Prohibition, right? Ingenuity, because that's how Americans excel. Ingenuity.
I think in Britain they call it a punt gun, P-U-N-T.
Pet gun is a handheld one.
No, this they put
on the boat?
On a boat or a kayak.
Okay.
And I want to say it's past 10 gauge. It's got to be like 4 gauge. That's how large it is. And they put it in a kayak and boom, fire.
Well, this one was mounted in a John boat, and it was pieces of pipe inside of pipes and piece of pipe. And they would melt lead to fill between the different sizes of pipe. And you know that eventually that bitch is going to just detonate and kill everybody in the boat, right? Yeah. But when your family's hungry, you do what you got to do. Again, remember, this was Prohibition back in the Depression. But James, you're going in the right direction. A longer barrel with a tighter tube, you're getting those goose loads out there. You're going to get more range. Now, you can, and I'm excited to see the stuff that's going to start coming out over the next few years, because everybody's realizing, hey, drone defense it's not that it's a thing, now it's a new market. And I don't know if you guys scroll back through our archive, you'll see I did a video about exotic shotgun shells. And we did everything from Dragon's Breath to aerial pest control flashbang rounds to pepper spray to less lethal rounds. Like we shot, I let Nicholas shoot me with rubber buckshot, and then we shot Emery with rubber slugs, and I had some other long range rubber slugs they use in the prisons that they're not allowed to shoot at somebody closer than 100 meters. And it went right through a hollow core door, right through both sides. I can imagine what that would do to your ribs. But anyways, if you look in that video, I talk about some of these other rounds, jungle rounds, Groucho rounds, and some of them are, like there's one, it was 2 halves of a lead ball with 5 inches of wire connecting it. And the idea is when you shoot it, it would open up in midair and act like a bolo and spin through the air. That concept, and that's not anything new. Understand that goes all the way back to tall sailing ships. They would load cannons like that on ships and shoot those things, and those spinning half cannonballs with 4 feet of chain in the middle. The intent was if it hit one of the main masts, it would cut that mast down. Well, so would hitting it with a solid cannonball. The problem with those is sometimes they didn't spin like this. Sometimes they just stayed together. And that's what happened in our test. I shot it, our rubber mannequin that's on, he's on a 1-inch tall pipe, I have 2 of them down on the range. So anyways, I shot the base because I wanted it to wrap around the base. And it hit the thing solid and completely cut it in half. And I was like, all right, not exactly what I wanted to happen in the video, but okay, put a big dent in it. It hit it like a slug. But there are people already out there experimenting, different companies with basically, think the flechette rounds, but heavier flechettes with them all connected together with real thin steel monofilament, basically. And the idea is that netting doesn't have to entrap the drone. It just has to mess up a couple of the propellers, and then it's going to crash and burn on its own. So next few years are going to be interesting, guys. I even have a buddy, and for my patrons, some of you know him as Tommy from our first Patreon course. Tommy's great people. He's also a 100-pound head. He's so freaking smart. But anyways, he's actually working on a direct energy, basically infantry held RF jammer that, in other words, it would mount on your gun kind of like a PAC-15, but you could aim it at the drone, key the thing.
Now,
and
we both know that Byron Russell
Yep.
is an extremely smart former Special Forces Green Beret. And Byron, I want to take your course on drones because I need to get spun up on drones. My question to you, Byron, is
Byron in the chat room?
He's always watching.
He'll
text me.
Byron, if you're watching, brother, I love you. You know I love you.
So my question to you, Brian, in regards to taking out drones and the legalities of taking out drones, if you're in your backyard hanging out in the pool, or your family's hanging out in the pool, wife, daughter, kids, friends, everybody's in swimsuits and bikinis, and a drone pops up, and it's basically
some local high school kid who's just
creeping on your family,
Yeah.
looking at the women in bikinis and stuff. But he's not, since the drone is not physically on your property, it's on the ground. What are the legalities of taking that out? If you take that out with your Remington 1187 10 gauge goose gun, are you justified or are you at fault legally for destroying his property? Since he's not, because I haven't heard anything ever on the news as far as drones. I heard
excellent question.
People chasing drones away, but at what point legally is he encroaching on your space, on your property?
Yeah,
it's like you got like 500 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet. I know
you can file a complaint.
Holler at us.
Yeah, I know you can file a complaint.
You can file a complaint, but you can't identify who sent the drone.
Yeah, but they can go back and the problem with the way the drones are now, the DHL drones, they can literally pull up every drone that was in that area and they'd be able to see the track of it. And there's no way you can turn that off. It can be turned off, but not by novices like me and Steve here. All right. Yeah, you could file a complaint.
See?
I'm not filing a complaint. I'm going to shoot your drone down.
What did I say?
What did he say?
Byron's always watching.
What does he say? You can report it, but you can't shoot it down. Which is good because you understand, guys, I fly my drone down to the sheriff's department and the pizza place and everything. And I'm training.
You cannot take out the drone. You can report it to law enforcement.
See, thank you. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't have the capability to take it out.
So I run in the house and I get my little skeet trap thing. I put a clay pigeon in there, and I throw it up and shoot it. So when the cops come
think
over,
you're good.
They'll say, "Hey, you shot that drone." I said, "No, I was shooting clay pigeons.
I was shooting clay
that
pigeons.
drone had just happened to stray
Just happened to be right
into my zone of fire."
Yep. It would hold up in court, except for when they play back this live stream in front of in front of the. This is just certain things we shouldn't talk about here. Matthew Dion reached out. Carl, Steve, what is the biggest explosion you've seen during battle? Wow. I've never saw the 20,000-pound Moab, the mother of all bombs. Trump actually dropped that. He's the only president to ever drop a Moab. There is the 15,000-pound or 9,000-pound Daisy Cutter, the fuel air. Yeah. 9,000. Hold on for a second, guys. I got to take care of something real quick. Turn off pool hose. All right. Largest bomb. Now, there were several fuel air bombs. They are 9,000 pounds or 5,000. What are they? I think they're 5,000 pound. But again, that's a fuel air bomb. There was a few of those that were dropped in Desert Storm. And as a matter of fact, there was a SAS team out that when the Americans dropped it outside Ali Al Saleen Air Base in Kuwait, the Brits actually reported it that the Yanks just nuked the Iraqis because it created a bomb, a mushroom cloud.
I was there.
He was there. I wasn't, guys. During Desert Storm, he was with 5th Group. I was with the 101st out in Iraq, my little sniper team out in the middle of the desert. I didn't get to shoot a single round. All I had was an M21 sniper rifle, and everything driving by was 5 miles away. It was a T-72 tank with their turrets pointing to the rear. I can't even shoot 5 miles. And what am I going to do? Shoot at a tank with a 308 rifle? So we would call it up requesting air support, and we were so low on the chain for close air support. They wouldn't even reply back and say no.
They wouldn't even come over and park a plane.
They didn't care about us at all.
So we're sitting there with the coalition one night, and we're on the tri-border area, and our PJ, Air Force, TAC, SeaTac, guys attached to a Special Forces team, he comes up and he says, "Hey, there's going to be a strike tonight, and we need you guys to go to the Arab coalition," which 5th Group, we had Kuwaitis, we had Syrians, we had Egyptians.
I remember the
Egyptians. We
Egyptians.
had guys from Ghana. We had UN guys. Now, these guys are forward, right on the edge of the border to Iraq. We've been there about a month or two. We're dug in, defilade, the whole thing. You got minefields out. So this guy comes up to us about maybe, I don't know, sun had just set. He said, "We need you to tell the coalition guys to move their forces back 2 kilometers."
They ain't going to do it.
I'm just looking at the guy like, is that it? That's all you want? That's all they want. You want us to move 2 tank battalions, a mechanized battalion, and then another country has a mechanized battalion along this whole FIBA for the edge of the battle area in an hour. He goes, "That's what they want us to do." I said, "Roger that." I went to my team leader. I said, "Hey, this is what's going on." He goes, "Okay." He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to go over to the Egyptian colonel," because he was in charge of all of it, and talk to him. Steve, come in, my friend. How are you? Tea? Shay?
You got to have tea. You understand? You can't talk until you have your tea.
We have our tea. And I said,
or green coffee, one of the two. Yeah.
I said, Fuad Abdallah, the United States Air Force is requesting that we move all the forces, the whole 2 miles of dug-in armor and mech, back 2 kilometers. And Steve, you joke. Steve, you make joke. I go, I'm not joking.
You got 40 minutes.
So I go back to my team leader. I said, "This is what he said." He goes, "Okay, go tell the Air Force guy we're good. They're going to do it. So I go back and say, hey, tell them we're good. They're moving. They're moving now. And the Air Force guy, he goes, the tanks aren't moving. I go, yes, they are. You just can't see it. It's happening. It's dark. So let's say it's supposed to happen at 10 o'clock at night. So being the typical Green Beret we got our lawn chairs. We got on top of the tallest building we had in there. That was the name of it. I can't remember. I'll think of it. Got our lawn chairs and everything else. We got our near beer and everything else. We sit back and wait. And the guy goes, 10 o'clock, right? So yep. And then about 9:30, he says, hey, you got to tell the coalition force they need to move another kilometer. We said, okay. And I stood up and I just walked around on the roof a little bit. I said, okay, I just told them they moved. And the guy looked at me like, come on, man. I said, dude, are you serious? So 10 o'clock comes and we're all like sitting up on our lawn chairs ready to go. And nothing happens. I was like, dude, what happened, man? You guys you're the Air Force, man. You guys living in a hotel, drinking real scotch and real beer. We're up here with our near beer. And you not even can't drop a bomb on time. We thought it was a B-52 strike. Yeah. So about 10:15, all this radio chatter's going on his radios. He's talking on his radios. He goes, okay, it's about to happen, okay. So we ran back up to the third floor, got out on the roof, sat down, and to the east-north, I can't explain it. It's like somebody was lighting a welder's torch. You know how you get that blue tick and that flame? Yeah. So we're sitting there, and the guy, you hear the guy over the radio going, drop, 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 bombs away, bombs away. We thought it was B-52 strike. Yeah. And as we're looking out, waiting for the whole B-52, boom, 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 yeah. You see this like a little arc strike in the sky. I mean, just like a tick, but it's a blue light. It just went tick, then whoom, the whole horizon lit up. I mean, as far as your eye can see, left to right. And we were like, holy shit! And we're looking, and everybody's like, how far away is that? And about 7 seconds later, it hit us. Here it comes. Us, the lawn chairs, the near beer, everything flew off the roof.
Wow.
Yeah,
we were that close to it.
Yeah, we was that close to it.
Oh, shit. No shit.
I kid you not, it looked like a nuke mushroom. It looked, I mean, because especially at night.
That tick they initially saw, guys, the way a fuel air bomb works is if you take a little puddle of gasoline and you light it, you get a basically a little boom because it's so many ounces of gasoline. But if you spread all that gasoline out into a cloud of vapor, that's about the same as you got 3 ounces of explosive, or you spread it out so it's 5 gallons. It's now 5 gallons of explosive. So instead of it being 5,000 pounds of TNT, that fuel air bomb, the initial tick was the blast that's not lighting it, but is spreading out all that fuel into a vapor cloud. Now picture basically a football field size circle of TNT all going off at the same time. And fuel air bombs are very, very impressive. I've never seen one. Yeah, dude, I am jealous. Dude, I am jealous.
I'm up there barely, they had a little eaves on the top of the building about 12 inches. That would kept me and the team from going over the backside and falling 3 floors.
You rolled back and hit it on the edge.
So when we finally cleared our senses, I was like, dude, you look at the Air Force guy, I said, dude, they dropped the fucking nuke. He's like, no, that's not a nuke, that's a fuel air bomb. So then we go downstairs, and here comes 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 coalition jeeps. And you know how the guys are, all the Arabs, they all jump out with AK-47. Right here. We're like, dude, what's up, man? What's up? Dude, we just had tea. We just had chai. He goes, man, because you dropping nuclear. Man. It's like, dude, is that gun loaded? Because a lot of times they wouldn't give the guys ammo, but they'll just fake it. I said, I think those guns are loaded. So it took us like 2 hours to get this whole thing worked out with the oh my God, the Syrians. The Syrians, I mean, they went full alert. They started pinging our aircraft that were coming through. I mean, we had so much chat on the radio, the A-10s are like, hey, we're being lit up. I said, hey, Syrians, are you lighting up? He goes, you drop nuke. That's like, they're ready to light up everybody, you know?
But you understand, all the Air Force had to do was tell Steve, hey, this is going to be a fuel air bomb, instead of just saying, hey, you
It's a
guys need to
strike.
back
It's a
up.
strike. Yeah, it's
instead
gonna
of
be a
just saying, you
strike.
got to back up 3 kilometers.
Yeah.
OPSEC, right? Military intelligence. You guys understand the contradiction in that term right there. You understand.
Ed Carter was my team leader. Captain
Man,
Ed.
I am so
Captain
jealous.
Ed.
You
Captain
saw
Ed.
a fuel air
Dude,
bomb.
I felt a fuel air
He
bomb.
ate a fuel air bomb. Damn, that is so
And
cool, dude.
what was crazy about it, we found out it was like almost 50 clicks away.
Wow.
That's a long way for that effect to hit
Yeah.
us like the way it did.
That is,
And
man, I'm so jealous.
The
dude.
next day, of course, they called us up and
Yeah.
said, "Hey, we need Special Forces guys to go out there to do a BDA, bomb damage assessment." So, of course, we
Hell yeah, be Sarge.
we get in our vehicles, kind of like the Covenant. You know, we're going out to find out the effects of and everything else. And I tell you, I can't explain to you guys the inhumanity of it. There were people that were dead. I mean, hundreds of them in the tunnels, in the trenches. Not a scratch on them. A lot of them in a fetal position. Not a scratch on them. Just dead. I mean,
Overpressure, the shockwave passing through.
It was just.
Yeah.
It was just, and I remember somebody saying, I think our medic, Bill Bruce, Bill said, hey, we're going to have to move out of this area within the next 72 hours. We said, wow, we got this. He said, all those bodies out there are going to start decomposing. He said, we're downwind. They're to the east, we're to the west. He said, we need to move. And he was right. I mean, it's just, we would walk up to guys that looked like they were sitting down having dinner or having tea or something in the bunkers. And they were just in the position they were in, or someone was in a little sleeping area with a blanket, and they were there when we found them, just exactly like that. And like it sucked the life out of them, And
You understand, guys, that when you blow even like a wall charge or a hand grenade, you've got the shock wave from the explosion, and then you've got the wave of shrapnel. Okay. The shock wave quickly dissipates, and that's what we call minimum safe distance if we're blowing open a door with a charge. We're like a block of C4 sitting here in front of me and Steve. The shock wave would kill us both if it was 4 feet away from us. But if we were 8 feet away, it quickly dissipates. Okay, but you understand that's a 2.5 pound block of C4. Right.
Not a 5,000 pounds.
But it's 5,000 pounds when they put it on the airplane. The actual volume of explosive gas was, you understand, those are cubic meters of explosive gas all being ignited. And I'm not joking. It's as close as you can come to a nuke. And
the reason people say it looks like a nuke, because when it explodes, like I said, we saw it like from horizon to horizon. Then it went under like a nuke, and then it came back up. Yeah. That's when we thought it was a mushroom cloud. And I think that effect right there, when it does that, is when it sucks all the air in that whole space.
Yeah, because the initial explosion blows out, and it creates a vacuum in the middle, and that absence immediately draws stuff back in. Guys, it's not the nuclear material that makes the mushroom cloud. All big explosions like that, and I've been working with the EOD. We've blown some very, very large shots, again, in Kuwait after the war. 10, 20,000 pound explosive shots, like getting rid of stuff, old artillery shells and stuff. And they make a mushroom cloud. I've got pictures I think I've shown patrons before, but nothing, and we never do it at night. That would be, dude, I would have loved to have seen it. If only we had iPhones back then.
Yeah,
huh?
I was just about to say that,
Yeah.
We had these big, giant digital cameras and all this other stuff, but that was absolutely amazing to experience. But it was, like I said, it was the after effect. It was like, wow, that was awesome. And then, of course, 48 hours later, we were walking, across this area in our Mach 4 suits because they were afraid that we blew like nerve gas containers and stuff like that.
So guys, after Desert Storm, you guys know the deal. I got back. I had my sniper team from the 101st. We returned back to Fort Campbell and meet my wife. And we get married. I immediately go to selection. Off I go to 5th Group, which takes a couple years to earn your Green Beret. But fast forward, one of my first deployments was over to Kuwait, and I can still see the hills right now. As you drive from, you go from Kuwait City, Doha, right? You go up where it was the Highway of Death.
Yeah, six ring road.
Yeah, off of 6 Ring Road, going up to Ali Al Salim. There's like a cliff face. There's a road there, and they call it the Highway of Death because there was convoys of Iraqis fleeing with all their booty. They'd stolen everything from all museum gold souks.
Everything.
And there's just trucks and trucks and trucks.
I'm talking gold-plated toilets.
Yeah,
you name it, they had it.
This flight of A-10s came in, and they hit the front 2 vehicles with Maverick missiles. They hit the rear 2 vehicles with Maverick missiles. Well, okay, it's an airstrike. Well, everybody, you want to get off the road. All these trucks got off the road. Well, it's soft sand on both sides. So now you've got, instead of one perfectly straight row of vehicles, 100 vehicles, 300 vehicles. I want to say it was like 300 vehicles.
It was
now it's 2 rows. One is 20 feet off this side of the road. One is 20 feet off this side. These A-10s just did gun run after gun run after gun run. They'd go back, get more ammo. They'd come back with their buddies with A-10s would come back. And it's called the Highway of Death. There was nowhere for them to run because the sand was just so soft. And they're like, well, we can at least hide around the vehicles. The vehicles give us cover. There's nothing but wide open desert. The problem with using a vehicle for cover is that's a 30 millimeter GAW on the front of that A-10. Nothing hides from that. You understand the M1 Abrams tank is not protecting you from an A-10. And Jay Johnson's A-team actually went up afterwards, and Jay was, and this is after the war is over with, the 2 weeks afterwards, he was actually there when they brought in the engineer units and they dug mass graves. And there's over 3,000 Iraqi soldiers just buried on one side of the road there. And, but when you drive to, every time you drive up there, the Highway of Death, that little sector, you look at it and you go, this would suck to have. Because you understand, I'm usually riding in a little 3-cylinder pickup truck or like a Tacoma pickup truck or a Humvee that doesn't have any armor. And we a lot of times we'd go do halo jumps from Ali Al Salim Air Base. So we're driving to the air base and you're like, this is the Highway of Death. This would have sucked. Because we call in a lot of airstrikes in peacetime with A-10s, Spectre gunships and stuff. I have called in a lot of airstrikes in peacetime, and I know what they're capable of. But as you're going out to Ali Al Salim, you can see the air base now, but out in the middle of the desert are piles of dirt that are like 40, 50 feet tall, and they're not natural because you can see there's just too many of them. They're set out like there's just piles of sand and dirt every so often. And anyways, I started asking some of the older SF guys that were, like Steve, that were there in Desert Storm. And they're like, dude, that's when Coalition came through here, the engineer units. There was an entire Iraqi armored division there, and the Iraqis' doctrine was triangle. They use a triangle defense. So you have the division in the middle and then 3 brigades, one on each side. And that brigade's triangle has got it's 2 better battalions, 1 battalion in reserve. And then the battalion over here has got its 2 best companies with 1 company in reserve. And it all spreads out in triangles. Well, they daisy-chained that bomb right in the middle of the thing. And so, like, all those mounds are where the Brits and the Americans and everybody came in with bulldozers And you understand, we can't clean this stuff up. So they hauled off some vehicles to the big graveyard there. You know, the big graveyard. But besides the vehicles, they're like, we're not, this is wartime. We can't do it. So they dig holes and they would just keep pouring more and more stuff. And that's the way war has been fought since, World War I?
Yeah.
Bury the enemy, bury your guys. That's why we have American graveyards all over the world. Try to do it as humanely as you can, but the war must go on. Well, peacetime, remember, that was 94.
No, that was 1991.
91 when it happened, but I got there in 94. But I went back in 95, I went back in 96, I went back in 97, 98, 99. By then we're doing the embedded package with the SIF companies. And we would always drive to Ali Al Saleen to do our halo jumps. And after a while, the wind had started tearing away at these mounds, and you could drive up to them, and there'd be uniforms sticking out of these things, and it's like, holy shit, dude! You know, you come back in 2 days, there's gonna be bodies.
That's something that most people don't think about, even on the movies. You know.
Yeah, you can't portray this stuff.
Like Saving Private Ryan, when we invaded on D-Day, guys come in on the LCMs. Can't imagine, and I've only seen pictures. I mean, you were just in France.
Yeah.
I've only seen pictures of the American graveyard in France, and of all the white crosses there.
Guys, if you ever get a chance, you should go check it out. You really should.
It's like the amount of bodies.
Yeah.
That anyway.
All right.
Back to tactical rifleman stuff.
Yeah, back to tactical rifleman stuff. Yeah, my biggest bomb, guys. I don't have anything like Steve. I'm so jealous. He got to watch a fuel air bomb in combat. In combat, he got to watch a fuel air bomb. Damn, Steve, you have lived
Not
a
my
life,
choice.
brother.
Not
What
my
coffee
choice.
are you drinking tonight? That's from Havoc 44 2000. Guys, I am drinking my usual. I do Five Stone Frontier Dark Roast. It's actually they call it their espresso roast. Whole beans. I grind it right before I make it. I make 8 shots of espresso, and then I froth up some not Irish cream, though I do Bailey's sometimes. I take a Italian sweet cream. You can get it at Walmart. Froth it up and mix it in, and I guarantee you it'll help you get to sleep at night. All right, excellent question. Again, guys, 5 Stone Coffee. Use code TR10 when you go there. It is good coffee. It really is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against Black Rifle Coffee. Those guys are rock stars. They're printing money. They're making so much money. That's fine. But understand, there's a lot of other great Americans out there that have coffee companies also. All right, Michael Johnson, question. The Chinese DJI drones have about 80-90% of the U.S. market, but soon the Senate will vote to ban imports. Any comments? Yes, here's the deal. The DJIs, and Byron will elaborate on this a lot more. We need to have Byron on the live stream here to talk drones. The FAA likes that they can monitor everything because of the DJIs. Now, understand, every time you fly a drone, and it's the reason why they're not allowed over military or government installations, is because our guys can't buy them to train with, to train with shooting down. If they want to train shooting them down, they can't do it on a military installation. They can't, because everything you're doing with your DJI drone, the Chinese have full access to it, because it automatically goes up on the internet. Everything that you do with your drone, all the GPS tagging and everything you watch with it, theoretically, the Chinese have it all on a hard drive.
Really?
And that sucks. And I want the FAA, I want the U.S. government to get rid of all this Chinese bullshit.
So technically or hypothetically, if they can access it, they can control it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So if we ever go to war them, they can just like hit the drone.
They can make it so they won't work anymore.
Or make it so they start feeding information to them.
Oh, for sure, yeah. How bad is it, guys? 2015, there was a Pentagon contract. What they wanted to do was completely replace every computer in the entire Department of Defense. They were going to do it overnight. Can you imagine your company getting that contract? The only requirement was it could have your computer. It didn't matter if it was Hewlett Packard, Bell, Dell, whatever. The only requirement was it had to have no Chinese hardware, software, or firmware. That was it, right? So surely some European company, some American company, somebody in Silicon Valley, you understand how big that contract would have been. Oh my God, right? Would you not have wanted that contract? Obviously you want that contract. Nobody could fill it. Nobody got that contract in 2015 because there was not a single computer company on the planet that didn't have Chinese software, firmware, hardware. And you understand, as good as we think we are at checking all the code, you can't really be sure. And so anyway, I'm not getting into all the classified aspects of it, and because I don't want to make our government look bad. But yeah, the Chinese are reading all our mail, guys. They're reading all of our mail. Now that was 2015. We're 9 years ahead of that. I hope Department of Defense is doing better than they were in 2015. I really do, guys. I really do. And I look at some of the schlep rocks that they've put in charge of this place, right? You see who's in charge, right? You understand Biden picked people specifically because they were transgender, even though that's not real. He specifically, instead of picking the best guy for the job or the best girl for the job to be in charge, he picked people based on their race, color, creed, sexual preference. You understand, that's not how you're supposed to run. If you want to run politics like that, fine, but that's not how you should run the military, guys. Military's job is to protect me and to protect you. And that has nothing to do with political ambitions at all. It shouldn't matter what your political party is or nothing. It should not. You should pick the best guy for the job. But what do I know, right? Because I follow the laws of physics. What do I know, right? Carl, you don't know nothing. All right, Michael Johnson. All right, yeah, don't get me on the Chinese drones, guys. Jake Snyder, Steve, comma. Were you involved in the H&K 416 MR556 design? I ran into an article about the system and dropped your name in it along with Gus Taylor. Jake, I'll wait for him to come back, but the short answer is yeah. You can go to our past live stream. Steve actually talks quite a bit about the H&K 416. Brad Brock threw down 25 bones. Brad, I appreciate that, man, because like we've got a bunch of people here watching tonight, and that's awesome, right? YouTube, this is free for you guys, but you understand, I don't get to do this for free. And this costs money for me. I was bitching earlier about me trying to save money on camera mounts. But this stuff costs money, so I appreciate you throwing money down. His question, any recommendations for a data logbook or tips for a beginning precision rifle shooter? I'm trying to see if I got any of my data books handy right now. I think they're all locked up. Oh, excuse me. Data books.
Locked up like classified material?
No. Guys, we teach a tactical precision rifle course, and there's lots of good precision rifle courses out there. You can buy generic books off the internet, and there are some good ones. And that's honestly where I would recommend you start, because you'll see stuff in there like, what is this for? Cold bore, movers, zero temperature changes. I never even thought of that, Carl. Exactly. So But at the same time, there you could get by with just a notebook and keep data on your guns because a lot of people now they want to use just the programs on their phones. All right, for example, and whatever program you show up with, I'll use. So the one that most people use is called Applied Ballistics Mobile. So there, by the way, there's an update available. I'm not going to do it right now. All right, but I can go to you go sign in, blah, 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 and it allows you to add firearms to it. Then you add ammo to it, and you can build a profile for your gun, all right? And then when you put in whatever the winds are, and you can actually have it feed directly from your Kestrel wind meter, which is basically a weather station, or the cool part about it being a phone is you can take it off the internet and it will grab weather from, like, you understand every small airport has a weather station at it. So it'll pull local barometric pressure, local temperatures, local winds, everything, and it'll give you data updated on your guns. And then, you know, small wind changes, stuff like that, you make small corrections. It's accurate-ish, but understand it'll print you out this nice range card, basically, bullet drop for different distances, but all of them have a little thing in there where you can true the data. Well, why do I need to true it if your math, your algorithm is perfect? Because you say your program is so much better than last year's program, and your program so much better than their program, and they say their program better than yours from last year. So which is it? Which one? And the reality is they're all good, but it's only as good as the data that you're putting in. So I'm big on you doing this, but at the same time, I still use a paper data book, and I will write down, hey, this is what it was supposed to be at 500 meters. For this temperature, this barometric pressure, because you understand as temperature rises, those molecules of air spread out. As barometric pressure increases, those molecules go back together. The higher up you go in altitude, right, air gets thinner, they spread out. That bullet trying to pass through the middle, the more molecules of air it's hitting, the more drag on the bullet. So it really does matter. And we get real deep on that in class. But you have to know this in order to gauge, all right, hey, right now I'm getting ready to shoot this longhorn sheep that's at 900 meters, all right, and I can read the winds, but you understand I'm at 9,000 feet elevation, but I zeroed my gun at 640 feet elevation at Carl's range. So understand every 1,000 feet increase in elevation is going to make you shoot high 1 minute of angle. Remember, that's a 700 meter shot, right? I've got I got 7,000 feet of changes. That's 7 minutes of angle. 7 times 7. Come on, guys, do the math here. It's math, right? Now, so you understand you could miss by a lot. Oh, by the way, it's also 40 degrees warmer because I zeroed my rifle back where it was cold, right? For every 20 degrees of temperature change is another minute of angle change. So you understand you're not going to miss that deer by a little bit and then blame your guide because he was wrong with the laser rangefinder. He wasn't wrong with the laser. Laser rangefinders don't lie, guys, right? What was wrong was you didn't know your rifle well enough, and that's what you've got to learn. And but yeah, start with just any good data book off the internet. Again, I don't use them. When you come to my classes, I've taken the data book that 5th Special Forces Group Sniper Locker uses, that Steve started that Sniper Locker. 5th Group's got its own sniper school. They have their own data book. I got it from them on digits. I've been to 4 different schools. And I take stuff from the SOTIC at Fort Bragg, Special Operations Target Interdiction course, taking stuff from Benning. And I took everything and I made the Tactical Rifleman data book. It's very, very thin because, honest, a lot of it I now do with my phone, but there's still some shit you need to have. formulas and all kinds of good stuff.
And one
Great
of the things
question.
that when I was running the sniper school, and I'm a stickler for it today, it's Cold Bore Zero.
Cold Bore
A
Zero.
lot of people don't understand Cold Bore Zero. So when you put that Cold Bore Zero into your data book at the different ranges, then that is probably the most important thing that you can have. I remember we were doing, I think we were doing the 6.8 SPC workout, and I would go out to Rattlesnake Ridge just to get away from, everything.
Yep.
No distractions, no get on radio every 10 minutes, range control, radio check over, all this other stuff. And I remember G. Johnson telling me one day, he goes, Steve, I'm not coming back out to the range with you anymore. I was like, why is that, Jay? He said, we've been out here 2-3 hours. You've only shot 10 shots. I said, yeah. Cold Bore Zero.
I'm doing Cold Bore Zero.
Cold Bore Zero. A lot of guys would shoot 3 rounds, good group, then they'll wait 5 or 6 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, and then they'll shoot a 3-round group. All those groups after that first group, you're shooting a hot barrel.
Hot barrel.
You're shooting a hot barrel. The more you warm that barrel up, and the more let's say you shot 10, I always shoot 5-round groups. I don't shoot 3-round groups. You get more data from 5-round groups. After that first 5-round group, that first round, then the 4, make it a group, and I write everything down on the target. The target has to speak for itself. If someone picked up one of my targets, and I've shown you guys on the show some of the stuff I've done with the Mark 12 and the 6.8, that target has to stand by itself without me being there. When you look at that target data, you don't need Steve Holland standing there with you to understand that it was on this date, this was the temperature, this was the firearm, this was the barrel length, this was the barrel twist, this was the ammunition that was used, the weight of the bullet, the powder charge, if I'm reloading, the primer, everything is on that data on that target. So when you shoot those groups, if you're doing true Cold Bore Zero, you got to go at least 30 minutes before you shoot again. Even though I see guys in the range all the time. Yeah, I'm letting the barrel cool down, and then they'll go drink some Gatorade or some energy drink, smoke a cigarette, come back and shoot another group. You can throw that out. Throw it out. Okay.
I got another one here for you. This one's from Jake Snyder. Jake, if you weren't here earlier, thank you so much for these coasters. And I'm letting the sand dry out. It's still wet when I opened up the Ziploc, but I got your container. I'm going to send it to you. Jake said, Steve, were you involved in the H&K 416 MR 556 design? I ran into an article about the system and dropped your name in it along with Gus Taylor.
Yes, I was. As I was discussing with my man Trey Brown from the Facebook Mark 12 chat group, when we went into Afghanistan, we had just gotten the Mark 12 program up and running. Of course, 5th Group got the first issue.
Yeah.
And then 9/11, and I finally got combat release for the Mark 262 5.56 77 grain ammo, and thanks to a war, it really helped. And having someone on our side at Crane like Gus Taylor, I cannot measure or explain to you guys how much difference Lieutenant Colonel retired Lucius Augustus Taylor IV made to the warfighter in the Special Operations Forces during the Global War on Terror, because he came from 7th Special Forces Group. He had been in El Salvador, Honduras, Colombia,
Panama.
He was a company commander for Charlie 37, which is the 5th Company Special Forces down in Central America, and being a program manager for SOTMOD and the Mark 12, he understood our needs. He understood that if we needed a suppressor in a certain way, in a certain model, certain style, he understood that. So we started a program called SPRV, Special Purpose Rifle variant. The intent was, after we went in Afghanistan, we wanted a rifle that would shoot 7.62 by 39 and take AK-47 magazines. Now, we use AK-47s and AKMs, but at the same time, I can't put my ACOG on it. I can't put my Surefire flashlight. I can't put my Knights armament or my Ops Inc. suppressor on this AK-47. So we initiated a combat mission need statement for a SPRV, a variant. The intent was you have a 5.56 rifle, take all your SOP mod accessories, block 1 and block 2, and then you could switch bolt, magwell, and barrel and go to 7.62 by 39 M43 ammo, AK-47. But I still got all my SOP mod stuff on it. When I'm working with the Hajis, and then if I come back, I'm back with the team, and we're working straight American missions. Then I switch back to 5.56, and the contract was awarded to Robinson Arms, Rob Arms, and we ended up awarding Rob Arms a contract for their M96, a very it's almost like a Stoner 63, basically what it was. Well, when they awarded the contract, Reed Knight, Nice Armament, had entered their rifle in the competition, and that's how they came up with the SR-47. If you Google Nice Armament SR-47, it was an AR-15 that took AK-47 mags, but it couldn't switch back to 5.56. So once the down select was made, and I remember that night up at Crane, the acolytes, not acolytes, the what is it? The agents of Nice Armament awarded Nice a contract also, and it really messed everything up. I mean, it messed everything up. So the program kind of got put on hold, and Gus just told me, he said, "Hey man, this thing, they should not have done that." They gave him a $1 award, which still made him legal. He could still compete, and so that led to me designing the 6.8 millimeter SPC, because we wanted a 7.6 by 39, not only because the Indians were using it that we were working with and the horse soldiers, but we wanted that lethality that you got with that 123 grain bullet that everybody says only goes 200 yards and fall out the sky. Just like they say bumblebees shouldn't fly, but they fucking fly, don't they? Okay, so I'm getting off question.
Yeah. He was asking about the H&K 460.
Right. So during one of these meetings, the IPT, Integrated Product Team, I showed the Stoner AR-18 and the Stoner, I can't remember the name of the rifle, but it was used, I think it was Indonesia or Singapore. Stoner had, after he did the M16, he said, you know what, direct gas doesn't work, because it's putting all the carbon, all the dirt, filth back on the bolt carrier.
That was Stoner saying this.
Eugene Stoner, and I met Eugene Stoner, okay? And we talked about this. But funny, I met him at Reed Knight's place.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I looked at those designs, me and Chris Murray, and we were going to write a requirement for an M16 Mark 12 type op-rod system. And when we briefed it, they invited certain members of industry there for that briefing, and I remember that day. And Gus Taylor was hosting it as the PM, and Jim Schatz, who God bless him, rest in peace. He was my NCO when I was a PFC on the Army Marksmanship Training Unit down at Fort Bragg. I was a pistol shooter, and he had now got out of the Army, working for HK, and he was like the vice president of operations or something. He brought the president of HK USA and from Germany. The guy's name was Ernst Mach. I think Mauch or something like that. And they sat in that briefing. And Ernst Mach, the president of HK, he talked to me for about an hour at lunch. And about 2 months later, Jim called me up. He said, "Hey, can you come to their place in Virginia, just west of D.C.? I forget the name of it, but where HK USA was."
Yep.
And they showed me the prototype for the HK 416. I said, that's exactly what we're talking about. And if I had time, I'll show you the picks, I'm holding an HK. It clearly says HK 416, 6.8 millimeter SPC. So they did what we asked. They created the HK 416 in 6.8 SPC. Even the magazines are stamped 6.8 SPC. Once we got that program rolling, what do we call these guys today? Green, Delta, CAG, the National Force, what do we call it? They got involved. Their CDD, Combat Development section, got involved, and then they sucked everything into their side, and pretty much took it away from what we call white soft and black soft. Okay, so 5th Group did have HK 416s, but all our 416s are in 6.8, and we did a joint coalition of working these rifles and to a down select, which barrel lane, everything else. We did it with the U.S. Marshal, SOG, the Border Patrol, SOG, 5th Group, I want to say I can't remember the SEAL team, but we all went out to El Paso. I forget what year it was. It had to be 2003, 2004. To do the down select. And then when we got back to Campbell, I got a nasty email from somebody at Bragg saying, "What the fuck are you doing? 6.8 and upright guns and everything else." And I just, called Gus up. And we called Gus, called Trex and said, "Hey, they're on my ass again." And they said, "Hey, we got you." And that's one of the things that I love and I miss about having Gus around, because he said, "Go do what you need to do. We got your 6 covered.
There you go.
Do what you need to do." When I did the Mark 262 77 grain, it was a no-brainer. But people lost their minds.
They lost their
minds. But because of people like Gus Taylor and a couple other guys I'm not going to name, that they were on our side. They weren't about the process. They were about results. And I can tell you, Master Sergeant Kevin Moorhead, God bless him, he got killed in combat in Iraq, but he was awarded a Silver Star in Afghanistan. He was running a Mark 12 Mod 0, Mark 262 77 grain ammo. They got hit in the mountains and the hills, and I'm talking maybe his team and then the Indige, maybe 20 guys up on this ridge, maybe 300-400 Taliban guys, coming up the mountainside to get them. And Kevin was a medic, kind of like Carl. The medic, sniper. Wait a minute, I'll shoot you, then I'll fix you.
Right?
I'll shoot you, then I'll fix you.
Medics know the anatomy.
So
the snipers now know the
Kevin
anatomy.
basically, he flanked to the right about 200 or 300 meters in the rocks. And as the Taliban came up this gorge, when they would pop up to engage the team, he's sitting there with this Mark 262 with this OPS-6 suppressor, and he's like, every time a guy would pop up with an RPG, but it was so much going on, it's a two-way range, and it's dark. Nobody figured out until the next day when the fast movers came in and killed everybody in the valley. The QRF came in, and as they were going over the dead, searching them for documents and everything else, one of the guys said, "Hey, man, I've seen at least 16, 17 guys that were shot underneath the left arm." And they said, "Yeah, Kevin was over here to the right about 200 or 300 meters in the rocks. And all night, every time somebody would pop up, pop like that." but because you had tracers going both ways, they didn't figure it out. And he was awarded the Silver Star. And I met him on the range out at Rattlesnake Ridge, and we were doing the Barrett, 25 millimeter.
25 millimeter.
He walked up to me. He goes, "Hey, I want to shake your hand." I go, "Like, what's up, Doc?" He goes, "Hey, I want to shake your hand." I go, "Okay, how you doing?" He goes, "Man, you saved my life." I go, "What?" He goes, "I didn't know you designed that rifle. I know when we got it, they said, 'Hey, this is the 5th Group.'" He said, "But man, when I was in Afghanistan, we got in this situation, and then we like, I was like, you're that guy. I've been wanting to meet you," because I heard about it, and I was going to try to make his Silver Star award ceremony, but I was TDY someplace else, and I didn't know him personally, because that's the way the teams were set up. Even if you got 6 teams in the same building, not every team knows what another team is doing.
Yeah.
So we did the Mark 16, original 5.56, and then we had TISWIG, Technical Support Working Group, under ASD Solik, Assistant Secretary of Defense, Special Operational Intensive Conflict, that gave us the funding and the authority to do the 416 and do it in 6.8.
All right, Tactical Gristle. That's his new handle. Craddock.
Yeah.
Craddock. Yep.
Yeah, I saw that.
Craddock, hope you're enjoying retirement. Hi, Carl and Steve. Will TR get a chance to demo the new SF ground mobility vehicles?
Already
You know,
been there.
I've asked a couple of times about us getting to do it, and fifth group's like, yeah, sure, we'll put it together. I just haven't had time. You understand? We're fags, we're former action guys, but we're also social media influencers that are wanting to come to 5th Special Forces Group and do videos about their operational vehicles. So the current 5th Group Sergeant Major was one of my worker bees when I was Company Sergeant Major of A15 back in the day. The big hit in Solder City. He was the guy running the recce computer underneath me. Travis Esterby is great people. I'm sure he will help us out. I don't know, more to follow on that. I will ask again.
You
I haven't asked in a while.
I was a consultant for the company that builds the vehicle, Flyer Defense, and maybe if I remember next week we'll post a video of me shooting. We put the M230 LF link fed 30 millimeter gun from the Apache onto this vehicle, and I did the safety certification out at Reno, Nevada at NATC.
It's badass.
It's badass. But we've actually got the Apache gun on top of this vehicle, and it is badass. We'll do the video next week.
Gavin Simpkins from Australia. Hi, Carl. Question for Steve Holland on what his thoughts are on these shotgun shells with concrete tips on them. Concrete. Guys, what's your opinion on them?
I've never heard of them.
Guys, concrete are basically civilians trying to make frangible rounds on their own. I don't have any experience with concrete shotgun shells. I guess he doesn't either. Ed, at Carl, did you not see any mushroom clouds in Mosul? I saw about a dozen over 15-month deployments from vehicle-borne IEDs. Yeah, I have seen lots, unfortunately, too many mushroom clouds. A lot of the times, a big artillery round, a 155, a 2,000-pound bomb, and a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device, a dump truck filled with explosives. Yeah, they make mushroom clouds, guys. I've seen too many mushroom clouds in Iraq. It's sad. Buddy471, can Steven do a video about the Mod H sometime? You know, you're not the only one that's asked. Steve has promised you guys 50, 60 times to do a Mark 12 video. I will keep hitting him up. Tactical Gristles back with 5 bones. Hi, Carl and Steve. Will TR get to demo the new SF ground mobility vehicles? I already got you, Gristle. I already got you, dude. Ghost Enemy. He's just attending my class.
Before you
in
do that,
Texas.
could you hold that picture up for me real quick? Up there?
Steve, you're not capable of holding it up?
I don't know where to hold it, Carl.
Okay, well, I'm here for you, dude.
As you can see, that's the HK 416. They call it the 416 Delta in 6.8 by 43 millimeter, 6.8 SPC.
That's the first one, guys. That's literally it. That's so where everybody tells you Delta invented all this stuff. They didn't do shit without Steve Holland.
And before you ask, no, I don't have one. I wish I did. I actually asked the guys, I say, hey, man, can I get one that's semi-automatic?
Ghost Enemy.
They said no.
Just got a gun safe and was told cat litter in a sock would be a good cheap dehumidifier. True or crap, or just buy something good? Yes, cat litter is designed to absorb moisture. So cat litter works, but honestly, you just got a new gun safe. All right. In the back is a little hole. Get yourself an electric dehumidifier rod and plug it in the wall. And that's the best thing you can do. Unless you're going to run a whole room, guys, and then you need a big dehumidifier. I'm not going to get into plumbing it. Wilson Phillips, 10 Bones. Happy Independence Day. No question tonight. Guys, on that note, as you guys know, Independence Day is one of my favorite holidays because I am a very, very proud American. One of my biggest triggers and I stress to people, I'm like, you can tell how shitty our country has fallen is there are so many Americans that are not proud to be an American. There are so many Americans that think you're an extremist if you wear an American flag or you put American flag on your vehicle, you're an extremist. You've got to be Republican. No, I'm not Republican or Democrat. I'm extremely independent, but I'm an extremely independent American. I am proud to be American. So anyways, this is one of my favorite holidays, and it falls on a Thursday this year. So I hope you guys have a great Independence Day. I mentioned my camper earlier. I just took it out and to reserve a campsite. And tomorrow, if you need like internet work from me tomorrow, you're probably not getting it. I am, the 3rd and the 4th are basically days for me to relax. We've got some great fireworks displays out at the lakes that we're going to go see, me and my puppies. And we're not doing our big party here on the hill this year, but instead we're going camping. So anyways, I'm going to park the Jeep so I don't get a DUI, and I'm going to hug my wife and my dogs and my kids. And we've got a bunch of family coming out to do s'mores and hot dogs and fillets on the grill over the campfire. It's going to be a great, great time. I hope you guys all get to do something special on your own and celebrate the anniversary of independence of the greatest country on earth. So anyways, I hope you guys get a chance to do that. All right. Mr. Merck, you both are awesome.
Coach.
You changed cameras. It's a lot clearer. I appreciate that. I try to do the best I can. We're trying to get you guys better camera work, better sound. I know I've got fans blowing for the routers and everything in here. Let us get the cameras ready first, and then we'll get you guys. Coach, we're going to have you, your son, a bunch of people up here on the hill to shoot later this summer. I apologize. We usually shoot every Sunday. I've just been busy. Joe S., $17.76. I like what you did there. Hey, Carl, what do you have planned for Patreon this year? Have a happy 4th. Patreon, what he's talking about, guys, is if you go to patreon.com/Tactical Rifleman, you can, I'll go back to me and Steve. Me and Steve are going to be there, along with Randy Rawhide Worth, along with a bunch of other great Tactical Rifleman instructors. Patreon, you pay a small fee a month and you get access to other content. For example, you pay like $2 a month, and we do quick shooting tips every video once a month. We do, I think $5 a month. We do story time with Carl, which is sometimes story time with Randy or Emery, whoever. We share a war story or a training story, whatever. They're always good times. We do a question and answer video for our Bronze Star patrons. And then for our Silver Star patrons, once a month we do a Zoom live stream, kind of like this, but instead of just seeing me and Steve, it's like the Brady Bunch all across the screen. And you guys all the Silver Star patrons all get to talk. And we have a great time. We just did it, I want to say it was last Wednesday, and we had a great time. And then, there's other perks for being Medal of Honor patrons and stuff like that. private range days and grilling. And but again, that's patreon.com/tactical rifleman. Doesn't cost you much, but it gives you access to content that normal people don't get. But another perk, and it doesn't matter if you're a $1 a month patron or a $1,000 a month patron, does not matter. I don't have any of them, by the way. I wish I did. All my patrons are invited to, once a year, we do a Patreon course. Last year it was at Beaumont Ranch in Texas. We had Barrett 50 cals, full auto machine guns. We had all kinds of great stuff. This year we are doing it at General Butler State Park, which is about an hour east of Louisville, Kentucky. It's a great lodge there. It's big stone pavilions and everything. And I got another great SF guy named Jay Johnson. We mention Jay from time to time. He is setting up, we're going to be doing land navigation, map and compass, right? So if you've never used a map and compass before, you can sit through the classes on how to do it, how to do pace count, how to do dead reckoning, stuff like that. For the guys that have already done it, you don't have to stay in the classroom. You go out with Steve, you can go out with me, go out with Sue LaRue, and we're gonna have other easy, beginner, intermediate, and advanced land nav courses set up. And we've got Kamenga Compass. Kamenga makes the military lensetic compasses. They've sponsored the event, so if my patrons want to get discounts on them or if they just want to borrow a compass from me, Kamenga sponsored it. We're going to be doing that. We're still going to be doing the Barretts and the exotic guns. Got a bunch of old antique guns coming this time, some full auto guns. Steve's going to be doing lever guns and 22s with the ladies again. We got a bunch of good stuff. We are going to take one day, slide down to the Louisville Armory where we've got the boxing rings and the dojo there, and we're going to do dirty fighting again. We're also going to do night vision shooting, indoor range. We can kill the lights. Like and we mentioned earlier, me and Steve are running the low light, no light course in July. We're going to take the highlights from that class and we're going to do it in the Patreon course, give them a small taste of it. Of course, we're still going to do escapology, how to get out of flex cuffs and handcuffs and lock picking, all that stuff. Probably going to have Randy do some more improvised fire building. And anyways, the schedule's not been finalized yet. It is a 4-day class. It is late October, and it's actually middle of October.
We got to get ready to do the class on how to load out your truck, your vehicle.
Yeah. We will give.
You're on the road. Something happens like national level. For example, the Baltimore Bridge got hit by that ship. Okay, that changed a lot of routes for people that have to go. So Randy,
he layers his stuff. Yeah, he layers his stuff.
I ride with him to most of the events, and he has. I mean, his truck looks normal. My truck looks like a wreck, but he can pull stuff out that shows you how
every orifice of that vehicle
show you how to get back home. What do you have in your truck, in your vehicle, whatever vehicle you drive, that if something happens nationally and you need to make it back home to your family, what are the things that you're going to need, especially if the bridge gets knocked out and there's 50 miles of traffic backed up, and it was amazing. We did it in Texas. We didn't get a chance to fully finish it. But I think that's something that we should do.
Alexander wanted to hit on more Mark 12 stuff. Steve, can you expand on how the Mark 12 with the Knights URX 4-rail came to be? He's one of you guys from your chat room, your Facebook page.
Are you talking about the Mod 1?
He's talking about the Mod 1.
Okay. Basically... when we did the Mark 12, we wanted a designated marksman rifle. Something that came up in Somalia, because in Somalia was the first time that we had used SR-25s. A lot of people think that all the, Dev Group and CAG got SR-25s first. No, 5th Group got the first 10 SR-25s. And this was 1993. Well, guess who got them for us? Major Gus Taylor. Yo, I keep coming back to Gus. Gus was with Sox in at the time. Nice armament. I had written an article, not an article. I written a letter in Desert Storm because I knew the history of Eugene Stoner, the M16, and I knew that he had done the AR-10 first in 7.62. He had the carrying handle, but then he had the charging handle underneath the carrying handle, like a reverse trigger shape. And I had just, you're sitting in the tent, nothing to do, so I wrote out this letter, and ended up being like a page and a half, and I sent it to Shooting Times. And about 3 months later, Shooting Time comes out, and the cover is, Desert Storm stuff. And they printed my complete letter to them, and Knights made we came back and started sniper school. Knights made the SR-10 and SR-25. And so Gus contacted me. He said, hey, man, you guys are going into Mogadishu, blah, 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 etc. He said, the AR-10 7.62? I said, yeah. He said, well, nice armament, or KMC, KAC, when they were in Vero Beach, not in Titusville. They're doing this in 7.62. So he sent me down there. And I think it was me and John Vandenbosch, because I wasn't working with Sean Rena. I don't think I had met Sean by then. So we got down there and we did the workup on the SR-25. Came back, did the workup at 5th Group Sniper Locker, and 6 out of the 10 guns wouldn't shoot. So we couldn't figure out what's wrong. So we went down to AMU, and they did their magic. And the guy says, you got a problem with your barrels. I said, okay, So the guy got on his lathe, and we went out and did stuff at Fort Benning for 4 or 5 days. They called us back, say, hey, they're ready to go. We took the 6 that they worked on, took them out to Parks Range, locked them in the vices, shot them at 300, and they were shooting freaking knotholes. So then we came back, we issued them out to, I think it was 3rd Battalion at 5th Group at the time. And I remember because Harvey Seals was one of my instructors. And the group commander wouldn't let me go over to Somalia at that time, because he said, hey, go train soldiers. We went from 24 soldiers per class to like 36 soldiers per class. Classes back to back to back to back nonstop. 3-week classes. I mean, it was smoker. I mean, you get smoked, training like that. And so we pushed out the SR-25s into Somalia, and the Macmillan 300 Win Mags, which I got from the great Special Forces Sergeant Major. I'll think of it in a minute. So we worked with KMC and everybody else, and because of that free flow system, and then we kind of led into the Mark 12, we looked at all the rail systems that were out there where he was working the Mark 12. We first started off with the Armalite system that had a fiberglass handguard tube system. And we did that. That was part of the first Mark 12s. And then we ended up going carbon fiber because, industries just started doing carbon fiber. So we did carbon fiber handguards. I drew up a design for the folding front sight. I drew up a design for the M84 gas buster charging handle because we were running suppressors and guys kept saying, hey, I'm getting carbon back in my face every time we shoot. So I said, well, how do we block that? Well, it's coming out over the top of the charging handle. So I said, well, if you built up the charging handle to block that, and then you can like redirect it, but it's not interfering with the operation of the charging handle, and make the latch larger. And that's how we came up with the M84 gas buster. Well, when they awarded the contract for the Mark 12, it went to Precision Reflex. Well, Precision Reflex, everybody says, oh, they designed this and that. No, they didn't design anything. They were handed the package. So once we started the Mark 12 program, of course, Nice Armament at Crane, they had to get a piece of the pie somehow. So the Navy and the Marines really didn't have any choice in the matter. They said, hey, you'll get what you're going to get. So the SEALs were like, oh, we don't want what the SF guys got. We want, our little, they call it the recce gun, which had the nice handguard tube on it. I don't know what the model number is. URX,
Quad, the
whatever
quad
it is.
rail, yeah.
But that's pretty much how the Mod 1 became part of the Mark 12 program, because Reed Knight and Knight's Armament, and I tell Reed all the time when I talk to him, I say, hey, I got another person against you. You're a businessman, and you know how to work the system, whether you know it's graft or anything else under the table.
Oh,
but he makes shit happen. You know?
We're not gonna bash.
No, I'm not
Okay,
bashing
I got
what you
50 more questions.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, Philip Wilson, you asked, can we buy a compass prior to the Patreon course in order to get familiar with them?
You should already have a compass anyway, Philip.
But short answer, yes, you can. Guys, I'll put it out on Patreon, the link and the discount code for Kamenga, guys. One thing I want to say about the Patreon course is a lot of the things that I just mentioned are repeats from previous courses. So why do I repeat things? Well, because a lot of things are important. For example, we're going to do a half-day TCCC, Tactical Combat Casualty Care. I'll be pimping my medical kits. Okay, no, I won't be. I'll have them there for sale. But the big thing is medical is important, guys. So there will be certain subjects that are repeats at the Patreon course. That said, this year, if you're like, hey, my name's Philip Wilson, and I've already sat through this shooting class, and I've already sat through this medical class, and this, there will be other options. Right? I have enough instructors there. There will be other options. We're going to do small groups that break out like that. So,
Philip, you know how many medical classes I've sat through in my 30 years of military service? A bunch.
And
you know, we go to
always
Patreon course. Guess what I do? I sit through the medical courses. Why? Because we tend to forget things.
Does Randy still do
Thank you for the
any
knife, by the way.
dedicated survival classes? JT wants one. Randy does still do dedicated. Matter of fact, Randy right now is in the middle of a survival class up in Montana. He doesn't get back till the 18th, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. So yes, he can. He doesn't have a website. I will hit him up about putting a class on the tracker that you guys can get into. Brad Brock, 20 Bones. Support what you like. Support what you like or it goes away. Thanks, Carl. Brad, I appreciate that. Howard Lucan, I'm here late. I just bought an all polymer lower, but haven't fired it yet. Matched it with a 5.56 upper 16-inch barrel. What's your opinions on a plastic lower? I actually scored really bad in a 3-gun match once. And so when I went to the prize table, I wasn't in the top 10. It was like 200 competitors. I was like number 40-something. Number 40-something. But I go up there, and there was a polymer lower for an AR. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, so in other words, guys, the stock and the pistol grip are all already attached to the lower.
It's got lower receiver group.
The stock and everything. And I thought about it, and I was like, oh, that's gay. But I had never used one before. So I thought about it. I was like, this thing weighs nothing. So I actually built it out. And my thought process behind it was, if you're trying to build like an ultra-light rifle, like let's say your daughter's got to bug out with you and she's a little itty bitty girl, she could still run 5.56 and a ultra lightweight rifle. Who gives a damn if it's got a tax stamp or not, right? Zombies have come. So anyways, I did end up building it out with a 16-inch pencil barrel. I took that thing and I built an ultra lightweight AR, and I ended up like, this thing is actually decent enough. Now, would I want to run a lot of ammo through it? Would I want to make it my work gun that I shoot 10,000 rounds a year through? Honest, no. But I'm not saying you don't build it out, because chances are you don't shoot 10,000 rounds a year. What I ended up doing is I have different vehicles here on the hill. That's one of my vehicle rifles. In other words, it's stuck in the rifle with the bandolier that takes stripper clips. You pull that white string out and it opens up those pockets, 4 pockets that each holds 2 magazines. You put 8 magazines in that wrap the string around it, take it and the rifle, bury it in the truck, the car, the SUV, whatever, leave it and forget about it. And because it's not a rifle I use, but if I ever need to pull the rifle out, it's got a surefire light on it. It's got a 1X optic on it. It's zeroed, and it's got 8 magazines of ammo with it. And that is a good start to getting home.
Very good start.
Very good start. All right.
Very good start. Excellent
Gee,
start.
I'm not saying that's bad at all. All right, guys. We've only got a couple minutes left here. But yeah, Howard, don't sweat that gun. Guys, I believe that's all of our questions.
And keep in mind, guys, when the Glock pistol first came out, and I remember specifically, because remember I said I was on the AMTU, Army Marksman Training Unit. I was a precision pistol shooter. When the Glock first came out, I remember one of the team sergeants in 5th Group, Spike McMahon. Spike was like, who the hell wants a plastic pistol? I mean, everybody was like, a plastic pistol. I mean, he had a big red truck with these big giant tires on it, and he threw his pistol out in front of the building over his 2nd Battalion and just ran over it a couple of times. Everybody was like, what is he doing? Oh, that's Spike, man. Ain't gonna tell him what he's doing. So we went over. He said, hey, man, I'm running over this plastic pistol. So he cleaned it up because we had range that day. And he got out to the range. He put this plastic pistol, cleaned all the dirt and mud off of it, put it back together, and it outshot the Berettas. You know? So that plastic polymer AR-15 system, guys, just be open-minded about anything that you work with. And Philip Wilson, when you hear that bump in the night, don't go down those damn stairs. I keep telling you. He's like, oh, if I hear something, I'm going to grab my gun, I'm going to run downstairs. I said, don't go downstairs, man. They already have the advantage. They're in your house. It's dark. They're already positioned.
Yeah.
And people, I'm telling you, if you've ever been in a fight in an urban environment, mountain environment, what do you want to call it? Fucking stairs are the toughest. Whether you're going up or you're coming down. Because what happens when you're coming down? The first things exposed are your ankles. Okay? All this stuff you see on TV, you know, I like my shows. I watch NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Los Angeles all the time. And I watch them, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy coming down the stairs is like, you know, I was like, they always win. They never get shot. They shoot the bad guy. If I catch you coming down the stairs, I'm going to eat your ankles up. I am going to smoke your freaking ankles. And guess what happens when I hit you in the ankle?
You lay down on your side and you're not wearing side plates. How many of you guys run side plates, by the way?
In the military, is what we call, with machine guns, we call it grazing fire.
Yep.
We graze the grass. Everybody's like, no, you shoot the guy. No, we graze the grass. Why? I hit you in the ankles. Guess what happens? You're going to fall flat. What happens after that? I hit all of you.
All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up for tonight.
Yeah,
we made it through all the questions.
Roger that.
You got
Real
one more?
quick, just, that is, back to the guy with the HK. That's the HK-416.
Other one.
Other one. Okay, sorry about that. That's the HK-416 Delta and 6.8 SPC.
Google's going to shut me down because I'm showing a picture of a guy holding a gun. You guys understand how screwed up their rules are. Hey, guys.
have a knife, all right?
Or two.
Have a light. And Philip, for you, have a light, have a knife, have a compass, brother.
All right, guys.
Mark 12 Mod H, I will follow up with you guys on that. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I'll show you some things people have never seen.
Next week, guys, we'll go over it some more. All right. Parting words of wisdom from Steve Holland.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of greedy men and greedy companies. Nice. Blessed is he who is in the name of
Goodwill.
He shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, because truly his brothers and sisters keeper and the finding of lost children. And the Almighty will strike down upon you with great vengeance and furious anger those of you who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers and my sisters. And you will know that his name is the Lord thy God when he brings his vengeance upon you. So do right. Be right. Get right. Okay?
All right, guys, we
Do no harm.
had a great live stream tonight. Again, I want to thank our sponsor, Venture Surplus, and check them out, guys, venturesurplus.com. I want to thank my moderators for keeping all you ass clowns in check in the chat room. You guys have done great. I want to thank Steve for coming on tonight and not picking up any guns. I want to thank my Google moderators for just being you.
Can I pick up the
Just
bag?
being you.
Can I pick up the bag?
You know,
SCR Mark 12, lever action Mark 12, laying right here. We'll get it next week, guys. I know I showed you the pictures on the Mark 12 chat room on Facebook. Give you guys a heads up so you can see.
We'll do it next Tuesday. We didn't have time. All right, guys, you guys know the deal. We got another video coming out Friday at our YouTube channel, Tactical Rifleman. For our next live stream, though, I'm going to see maybe not next week. Well, what about next week? About the Leatherwood Distillery. Is that too short notice?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Anyways, let me reach out to Kyle Lamb from Viking Tactical, and we'll see if we can. We'll see if we can make this happen.
Let's have Kyle and Byron Russell on the drones.
For sure. But for maybe I can get Byron next week at a minimum. But I got to reach out to Kyle. Guys, you all have a great Independence weekend. It's Tuesday. So start that weekend tomorrow, and there's no better holiday to celebrate except for Jesus' birthday. But for Americans, there's no reason why you can't put all your political bullshit to the side and just be proud to be an American, and because your ass is just lucky that you were born here.
No joke.
Sincerely.
No joke.
All these people that are not happy, America sucks and everything. I've been to 41 countries, and I'm here to tell you the rest of the planet is a freaking shithole.
Now, see, I'm jealous of you. I've only been to 29.
29, because I've been to a lot of them, guys.
Blessed is he who, with the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brothers and sisters' keeper and the finder of lost children.
We already did this, right? We already did
all you
we already did it.
Guys out there, stay away from the fucking children, okay? We'll get your fucking address.
Oh, all right, guys. You guys know the deal. I'll see you all next Tuesday. Y'all take care and shoot straight.
Incoming right there.